this is Sarah, the Catholic Homemaker. Today I wanted to discuss an anti-MLM topic with you all about Juice Plus, the company. I used to be a rep of them. They're one of the 11 MLMs I used to be a rep of, and I was in it for, I don't remember the exact amount of time, but it's probably between 1 to 2 years. I kind of didn't do a whole lot the second year, but was kind of inactive / still kind of rolling in money a little bit. But anyway, before we get into it, if you're new, welcome to my channel, and I would love for you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and please hit the thumbs up button if you liked it, and comment below on any of your experiences with Juice Plus, if you've heard about them before, and also hit the notification bell for all notifications so you know when I post, which is every Monday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And I would love it if you would also share this video just so more people will be able to find this video. I need to throw in a disclaimer that this video is for entertainment purposes only, and it is just my opinion and experiences. Now, I'm going to be referring to some of my notes just to make sure I get through all the points I wanted to. So first of all, the Juice Plus supplements, there are actually clinical studies behind the supplements that they promote. And so the idea behind these supplements and the MLM is that it's just fruits and vegetables in a bottle, and it's filling in the gaps of your nutrition, like what you're supposed to be eating versus what you actually eat. So they use that catchphrase, filling in the gaps, all the time. And it sounded great to me because I'm like, well, in reality, I don't eat as many vegetables as I should in a day. Like some days are better than others, but I kind of have a different perspective about nutrition than what the government recommends or what the mainstream recommends to everybody. Because if you are new to my channel, if you've never seen my videos, I am a Weston A. Price chapter leader in my area, and I have been eating a Weston A. Price type diet for several years now. In fact, it's been 10 years since I started eating this way, which is wonderful. And I know that there is no better way of eating than this, because there's not even just a single way of implementing the Weston A. Price diet. It's just based on the foods that are available in your area. At least Dr. Weston A. Price, who was a dentist, went around the world and studied tribes around the world that were indigenous and the modernized tribes of the same lineage as them, and the ones that were eating the modernized foods had much poorer health. Their teeth were starting to rot, and the next generation, their teeth were coming in crooked and twisted and just having all kinds of gaps and stuff. But the ones that were having their diets based on what was around them, like eating the whole animal and just any plant foods that were around them, and not sourcing any sort of store foods, which were like syrups and sugars and vegetable oils, just things that were degenerative to their nutrition. The ones that were eating like only the whole foods and not wasting any part of the animal, that was the most nutritious things in their diet, were the animal foods, and eating the whole animal, the organ meats, the fats, the skin, the bones, everything like that was the most nutritious part. And so the ones that were doing that had perfect health, including their teeth as well. They had almost no cavities at all, and their teeth were completely straight. So when I discovered that way of eating, I was like, this is the right way. So anyway, back to Juice Plus, their philosophy with food kind of clashed with mine. So that was something I always kind of had a problem with from the start, unfortunately, because a lot of people, like whether it's reps or within the company, they're promoting more of like veganism or vegetarianism, and they're saying like only plant foods are healthy for you. So that's something I definitely disagreed with, especially from my own research and experience. So their way of thinking kind of clashed with my philosophy on eating because I do know that it is very healthy and beneficial to eat animal foods in your diet. So, but I chose to just kind of do it my own way and just say like, hey, this is a way to get extra vitamins into your diet more naturally. Unfortunately, that isn't the whole truth, because if you look at the ingredients on their supplement bottles, there's folic acid in it, and I'm not sure what else is in it, but I remember when I looked at it years ago, there were a couple other things in there that weren't food-based. And that is simply, the reason for that is for them to be able to put vitamin amounts or levels onto their supplement label. So because with fruits and vegetables, it can vary. And so they wanted to have that like constant amount for each of those vitamins that they're listing on there. And folic acid can be very problematic, because if you have the MTHFR gene mutation, I have one of those gene mutations, then folic acid is something that you definitely need to be avoiding. And some studies have indicated that it is linked to cancer as well. And I just actually recently found that out about the cancer link. So I'm like, oh, definitely. Like, it's been years since I've taken the supplements myself. But when I first signed on as a distributor, I was talking with my upline who signed me on, and she was like very into natural health as well. And just having like foods be completely natural and everything. So I trusted her. And she was like, she talked to them at length, and she was like, she found out that the folic acid, according to them, was very minimal in theirs. And so she kind of came to a conclusion that it wasn't bad or wasn't too harmful. And I was like, okay, then that's okay. And by the way, it's a $50 one-time joining fee. So it is a lower joining fee than other MLMs typically, but you also have to have a monthly auto ship that's required, and it's like 4 months at a time auto ship. So you have to have like a minimum of $70 order for 4 months at a time, and I guess to stay active as a distributor. So that makes it very difficult to make money unless you are actually recruiting people onto your team. So I will link to my anti-MLM playlist so you guys can see why I am anti-MLM. I'm not going to get to that in this video because I've talked about it a lot on my other videos. But anyway, I took the pills myself, and I really didn't see a huge health difference at all. I saw maybe like a couple of things that were slightly different, but it could have just been a coincidence as well, because it was just barely a noticeable difference at all. And I was kind of looking for things too. So, yeah. And then after a while, after taking it after a couple months, I didn't see any more differences at all. And as I said, it was like such a minimal difference. I might not have noticed it had I not been looking for it. But anyway, those clinical studies that they have are very biased. I haven't done the comparison in a while because it's been years since I was part of the company. But I do remember that people's criticism of those clinical studies are that they are actually paid by Juice Plus themselves. So they can, pull out, like pick and choose things that look good to them in there and just make claims about it. Another thing I have a problem with is there are, more well-known people, even celebrities, but not even necessarily celebrities, but just kind of well-known practitioners or doctors that have endorsed Juice Plus. And when I was a rep, I would see videos of that. Like, I don't know if they were only allowed to be seen by us or if they were videos. I think there were videos that we could have shared to other people. But the thing that bothered me, looking back on it, is that these are people who the average person might trust because of other things that they are reputable for. And, they're kind of misleading people. I don't know if they're intentionally doing it. Maybe they truly believe that themselves, because a lot of the people who I'm referring to on these videos, they're like, oh, it's the clinical studies. So it was like doctors who were saying this. They're like, the clinical studies, they show that they have all these different health benefits. I'm not going to list them out because I don't really remember, frankly. But there were just like a number of health benefits that the clinical studies showed by taking Juice Plus on a regular basis or on a daily basis. And, people trust them. And so they're going to take their word on it. And I think some of those doctors were saying, like, I put my patients on this. But it made me wonder if it was just because they want to make money off of their patients. Like, are they reps themselves? Or do they, like, genuinely believe in these clinical studies? So anyway, that was one of my points, that I have a problem with those doctors or well-known people endorsing. Also, I want to go through some of the points that my uplines, or just things that were promoted in order to sell the product or the opportunity to people by my uplines. And I went to a regional conference. This is the only time I was in an MLM, and I actually went to a conference, and it was because it was close by to me where I was living at the time. It was in Raleigh. And looking back on that conference, there was a ton of propaganda that was happening, and I didn't really realize it. Like, you come away like kind of energized and really positive, but it's like some people refer to it as toxic positivity. And there was a video that one of the presenters showed, and I think it's like public. So I will try to link that video below so you guys can see it. But this video, it was like these cartoon type characters talking back and forth to each other. The one person was trying to sell the other person the product. I think it was the product, maybe not the opportunity. And the one person who was being sold to was against MLMs, and they were against pyramid schemes. That's what it was, because this whole video was like, is it a pyramid scheme or something? And eventually it makes the person who's being sold to look really stupid. They're like, I don't want to sell to you anyway because you're so stupid. They didn't say stupid, but it's like, I can't deal with you, and like not understanding what this is really about. So it's just kind of looking down on somebody who is against pyramid schemes. But to me at the time, I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. Everybody laughed in the audience, but we were kind of being brainwashed in a way, because I showed my husband that video, and like, I didn't realize it, but he was like on the other side. He was like thinking like how stupid this video is, like trying to convince people that it's not a pyramid scheme. And I think it was around the same time, or maybe before that, he showed me the John Oliver video about MLMs. I'll try to link to that one as well, because he did a really good job covering the negative side of MLMs. Okay. Another point, one of my uplines as a motivation for me to continue working harder was saying, we can try to retire your husband. And she was saying that was her goal eventually, was to retire her husband. And I thought this was like a unique thing to Juice Plus, but apparently a lot of other MLMs say the same thing about retiring your husband. Because I've seen other MLM videos and people talk about it. I was like, they also said that to me in Juice Plus. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great, because I'd love for my husband to be home more, and I don't think he's really crazy about his job anyway. And that would be really nice for us to be home as a family, or do more of like what we want. But in reality with MLMs, you don't have as much free time as they really promise, because you end up having to work a lot harder. And like when you're quote unquote like retired or there, you have to like constantly keep recruiting people and more customers, because you're always losing people. Because I saw that in a lot of MLMs that I was part of, because like in the beginning it's like I would tend to do better because I would make some of the bonuses, or like the first 3 months incentives. I was like, yeah, I'm doing great. But then after that, it kind of slumps down. And you don't have like those same opportunities, and it becomes more about recruiting. One regret I really have, especially about Juice Plus, is recruiting a good friend of mine. And thankfully, we are still friends to this day, because she is a wonderful, understanding and forgiving person. But I am really regretful, remorseful for that, for recruiting her, because ultimately, when I look down on it, I was just taking advantage of her and her friendship. Because, you know, your uplines, like when you join, they try to say, like, who can you think of who would be interested in having the same opportunity as you, this business opportunity? And I thought of my friend, because she was like really into eating like plant foods and vegetables. So she was eating more of like a vegan type of diet. And I thought that she would be really great for this opportunity, because she was very passionate about eating real food, and she especially like about vegetables and plant foods. And I was like, she'd be a perfect fit for this. And so I told her about it, and she was excited about it. And she actually like got a bunch of customers, and just was like talking about it naturally, like just like a really great customer essentially. But then after like a couple months or so, she talked to her husband and was like, I'm just not going to do this anymore. And I was like understanding about it, but I think my uplines were kind of, I don't think they were like harsh or anything, but they were, you know, they were kind of upset that she was leaving, probably because of the money involved with her. But yeah, then eventually just, I wasn't making money with Juice Plus. If I look back at everything that I spent versus the paychecks that I received, I lost money on Juice Plus. Now, I did write all these things off on taxes, thankfully. I'm not sure if I did it with every single MLM company. Like, I'm not sure if I did it with Avon or doTERRA. I may have. I may, but I just don't remember. But definitely all the other ones I wrote off on my taxes. So, and I did use the products as well. And I'm still using a bunch of MLM products to this day. Not a bunch, but like with my makeup especially, I still have Beauty Counter and Crunchy. And that'll probably just take me a while, because makeup, it takes a while to, especially like eyeshadow and blush, it takes a while to run out. So I'll probably have that stuff like maybe even for years to come. And I still have some Purium products left. My Essence, I think all I have left is like a fragrance spray. It's like all natural with essential oils in it. And it actually smells really good, but it's just not something that we use very much in our household. So anyway, like I'm completely done with the Juice Plus products. I actually canceled my auto ship after I quit my job when my oldest was born over 4 years ago. Or it might have been like right when I quit so I didn't like quit my job right when she was born, because I was on maternity leave, but I quit it like a few months afterwards. So it might have been like almost 4 years from now when I canceled it. And because I was like, we're having a serious loss in income from when I quit my job. And so that's how I was able to pay for Juice Plus, was like when I had my other job. It wasn't that I was actually making money from that business, so to speak. So just a couple other points. There were pep talks that I would have for my uplines, and or just from like talks we would listen to, and they would say, well, you can't sell the product or you can't sell the opportunity because you're having all this like negativity in your mind. And you're having like these premeditated thoughts like, oh, it's too expensive. Oh, like they won't be able to afford this. And they're saying like, you need to have a better perspective of this. You need to think like, oh, well, it's, a bottle of all these vegetables. It's like 77 different servings. I'm just throwing a number out there. I can't remember the exact number they would say, but let's say it's like 77 servings of vegetables, and that would cost you this much at the grocery store every week. So that's a really great deal that you're getting. But in reality, it's not the same thing as consuming that many fruits and vegetables, because you're not having the fiber in it, you're not having the sugars in it. Nobody would possibly be able to consume that volume of vegetables. Maybe if they were only eating vegetables, but that's not a balanced diet at all. So it's just like the amount of vegetables that they say that you should be having is just, it's not really possible unless you're like a vegan maybe, or vegetarian. And then you're having to supplement on top of that because you can't get all your nutrition from plant foods or from vegetables. You just can't. You're not going to get B12. You're not going to get vitamin A or D. And this is a fact, because even when, people say that there's vitamin A in butternut squash, say that's not true vitamin A. That's actually beta carotene, which people say, or it is said that you can convert into vitamin A, but most people are poor converters of vitamin A. So it's not going to happen with somebody who is not healthy. It's not going to happen with older people or even really young people. And so like that covers the vast majority of people. The vast majority of people are not in good health, especially in America. And I think there's other factors too that can limit the conversion into vitamin A. So true vitamin A is only found in animal foods, and same with vitamin D. And vitamin D you can get from the sun, of course, but like vitamin D is found in pasture-raised lard, in smaller amounts in like pasture-raised butter and eggs, fish and fish eggs, like salmon roe has higher amounts of vitamin D in it. But getting it from plant foods, I've just heard that it is not possible. And some people say it's like from some type of mushroom, but I've actually heard that that's not true. But anyway, so the point is, like, if you're eating a completely plant-based diet, you're not going to be able to get the right amount of nutrients that you need. You're not going to get the full spectrum of vitamins and nutrients that you would having animal foods in your diet. You're just going to need to supplement. So finally, some of the other products that they have are shakes, and I never touched those shakes at all because I knew that they were soy-based. And first of all, I'm allergic to soy. Second of all, I know that soy is extremely unhealthy for you, especially if you're not eating it in a fermented form. The Asian cultures, yes, they do eat soy in their diet, but they consume it mostly in a fermented form, like from fermented soy sauce, miso, natto, what's the other one? Tempeh. So those are the 4 soy foods that I know of that are fermented. The other foods are not fermented, like soy milk, tofu, soy protein, soy oil. Soy oil, never consume that. That is so unhealthy for you. It's one of those vegetable oils out there. It's not actually a vegetable, but it's considered to be a vegetable oil. And it's a very unhealthy oil to consume. And it's in they use it in a lot of restaurants and most processed foods. And you can also buy it at the store, but it's such an unhealthy oil, just like all the other vegetable oils. So avoid it if you can. And the other forms of soy are also not healthy. There's, okay, I don't want to get into the reasons for that because it would take a very long time. But you can go to the Weston Price website and they have lots of information about why soy is unhealthy there. And Dr. Kayla Daniel also wrote a really great book all about the dangers of consuming soy. I think it's called The Whole Soy Story. It's a really great book. I don't have it anymore, but there's a ton of information in there and studies linking to the negative health effects of consuming soy in your diet. So anyway, when I joined, I knew that about the shakes, and I was like, okay, I'll just promote the pills, the vegetable and fruit pills that they offer, and I'm not going to promote the shakes since I don't believe soy is good for your health. But yeah, that kind of bothered me about the shakes. And some people would try to convince me otherwise, and I'm like, you're not going to convince me. But anyway, those are all the reasons I have problems with Juice Plus. Not all the reasons, just the main reasons. And I wanted to share my experience in case any of you out there are considering joining or buying it. It's a waste of money. You're most likely not going to make any money as a rep. It's like a 1% chance of you making money. So it's a pretty small chance, and pretty much the only way to do that is through recruiting. And so it's really the business model that is the problem. And then, yes, I do think that their products are a waste of money. They're highly overpriced because it is a multi-level marketing company. And it's not 100% natural like they try to claim. A lot of the reps leave out the information about the synthetic vitamins added to their products. And I think that's very deceptive and misleading. So anyway, I hope you have found this video to be helpful. I would love to hear what you think in the comments. And I hope you have a wonderful week, and may God bless you and your families.